Hello and welcome to Talking About. I'm Jon Griffith, and tonight we are coming to you live on February 20th, 2009. And I have two very, very special guests from who brought to us the film Between Love and Goodbye. Casper Anderas, the writer, director, producer also.
Yep.
And Rob Harmon, one of the co-stars of the film. Welcome.
Thank you.
So I'm a little out of breath. It's been kind of running around back and forth. I'm just really, really glad to have you here, and we're just going to be really going into detail on the whole process of making this film. I had the opportunity to see it at the New York premiere, which was very recent to this day.
Mm-hmm.
Full house.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's always a good sign.
Yeah, we had a great opening. It was really fun.
Yeah. So, okay, give us the basic premise of the film.
The basic premise, it's kind of like an alternative family drama in the sense it's about these two gay guys who fall madly in love and decide they want to spend the rest of their lives together, but one of them is from France, so he actually marries their lesbian friend Sarah so that he can stay in the country with his boyfriend. And then the American guy has a transsexual sister who played by Rob Harmon here.
Mm-hmm.
And April, she ends up moving in with them, and so there's a lot of tension and drama between these characters. It's about, I guess, good love going bad,
Okay.
and hence the title, Between Love and Goodbye.
Marcel, Sarah, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss or embrace.
I don't want all my friends at home to hear that I got married to some guy. That's disgusting.
How about a picture of the groom and the best man?
Let's hope immigration never sees those photos.
Do you have a boyfriend? No? Do you want one? I'm Kyle.
I love you. I know it's too early to say that after just 6 days. I'm just crazy about you.
Guess who just called?
Who?
My sister.
April?
Do you think we could be best friends again?
I want her to move out.
Kyle, tell him I can stay. If you kick him out, you and I can stay here together.
April? We're gonna put an ad online for band members so we can start our band again. Isn't that exciting?
Now we're gonna do a song that's very special to me. I wrote it to my baby for our 2-year anniversary.
What is she doing in our bed? Here's $20 for a cab. Let's never fight again. Deal.
There are ways to solve this.
I know. One phone call.
You're so stupid, Sarah.
I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry too.
I love you.
I love you too.
And you.
Yes.
There is the Wicked Queen and there's the Poison Apple.
Uh-huh.
You play the Poison Apple.
Yeah. It was fun.
And just, I didn't know what aspects of, because I haven't met you face to face before today,
Uh-huh.
I didn't know what aspects of your personality might have made it in, and I see this really nice guy before me just playing this evil, at least my perception of the character was evil. I mean, everybody sees a film in their own way.
Mm-hmm.
And I just viewed her as, like I said, the Poison Apple.
Yeah. April is a really interesting character for me. She was a lot of fun to play. I think that a lot of April is me in different parts of my life. I mean, we all go through a lot of periods of anger and I guess difficult times in our lives when we're forced to grow unexpectedly. And April kind of deals with her challenges in change the best way that she knows how. And unfortunately, it doesn't work out very well for the other characters. But yeah, I think that, I mean, she is, it's very easy to peg April as the villain. But I guess you could dissect her character a bit more deeply and compare her to the other characters, and they're all kind of villainous, I think.
When you were writing it, is that how you saw the characters developing, say, the good side and the bad side of each individual?
Yeah, I would definitely say so. I think I made an effort not to show a relationship falling apart. I definitely made an effort to not really make one character like the good guy and the other one like the bad guy. And I love when people come up to me after I overhear people after a screening discussing about, you know, whose fault is it that things are going bad, and people have different opinions about that, and some definitely blaming it all on April, you know, this third part who ends up moving in with them and causing a lot of the drama. It's definitely easy to do because she does cause drama, but in the end I think it's the two guys in the relationship who of course have to take responsibility for their own actions and also for how they choose to react to what is going on around them. So that was definitely something I wanted to say with the film. Hopefully people take away from it thinking about, you know, how they choose to treat other people, you know, how to choose to treat a loved one in a relationship, for example, or, you know, people around them. And I love that people, you know, when I hear people having discussions about that afterwards, who were like, you know, well, he should have done that, and I can't believe he did that, and stuff like that.
I mean, just because you were, and part of the cast was at the premiere, which I was lucky enough to be there, you did a Q&A afterward, and there was so much swimming around in the back of my head that I couldn't filter through without really bringing, because I had just met the characters, so I only knew the characters and not the actors, and I needed a little time for myself to sift through that.
A lot of people say that.
So I didn't raise my hand to ask any questions because I didn't want to be acidic to certain people in the cast or overly one way or the other. You know, I didn't want to raise my hand and say, I hate you, to this really nice guy who's sitting before me right now.
My mom actually came to, the world premiere of the film was in Switzerland. It played at a film festival in Zurich. And so my mom came, I'm from Sweden, my mom came down from Sweden and we met there. And so she saw the film and she was really nervous for me, of course, beforehand. But then after the screening, it's like, I hated April. I hated her.
My mother saw it at the New York premiere.
What did she say?
She loved the film. You know what? She didn't have too much to say about April's character. She really liked the film. She's seen Casper's other two feature films, and she really liked this one. She had a lot of fun.
Well, there's something of a duality to your character also, because I don't want to paint a one-dimensional villainous bitch picture. Your character does have something of an evolution throughout the story as well. Can you share some of that without giving the viewer too much information?
Well, April is indeed a transsexual, and April has she has a lot of physical complications with her body. Things have gone wrong in her body as a woman that she hadn't expected, and she's forced to deal with them at a really pivotal point in her life. Also, you know, she's not exactly at the most independent point in her life, and she's relying on her family and her friends to support her. And I feel that she's in a really very vulnerable situation, actually. And yeah, I don't know how much I can give away.
Well, I think you can safely say that, I mean, she definitely has issues with gender, you know, question her choice of gender and stuff. And that was something I put into the script because I had, you know, you definitely meet transgendered women, or
Right.
actually I don't know any men, but transgendered women who are very certain that they know what sex they want to be.
Right.
But then I also actually met a few people who are like not so sure, and I thought that was very interesting. Like, would you go through with all this, changing your sex if you're not 100% sure, and how can you be 100% sure, kind of thing. So this character, she definitely has some questions about about her, what gender she identifies
She
with.
has some reservations about who she is.
Yeah.
So, and were they all, and some of them are from within and some of them are just by circumstance as well.
I think so. I think it's a combination of the two. Do you?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
So obviously not being a transgendered person, where within yourself do you find the basis to create the character?
Well, as I said, I known a couple of people who have transgender women who, and in one specific case, someone who did decide to go back to being a man, and then I decided to go back to being a woman again. So a little bit, I guess you can say that the character is based on a real person, and I think that's true for most characters that I write. Like I take things from life or things I've seen in life. And I kind of like twist it and make up a story around it. So yeah, I think it's true for, like, I don't know if you saw my film, A Four-Letter Word. There's a
Yes, I did.
pathological liar in there. Charlie David, you said, was on your show.
Yes, he's a friend of the show.
And he's playing a pathological liar in that film, and I dated a pathological liar. Nothing like Charlie David, but still,
Charlie
it's
David
kind
is
of like
a really
inspired.
sweet guy.
Oh yes.
Yeah, the 2 hours that I spent with him.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. He's a very nice guy. Not in the film, though. Not in
the film, which says a lot about his ability.
Yeah.
And also says a lot about your ability, being the nice guy sitting here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, where within yourself did you find all that acid?
Oh God, I think a lot of it came from living in New York for 10 years.
You're from originally?
I grew up in Michigan.
Okay.
I moved here when I was young. I was 18. I identified a lot with the love story between the two men and the characters. There's so many things actually so many things that happen in the movie can happen to anybody that ventures into New York City in their early to mid-20s. I mean, the vulnerability of falling in love and taking a chance on some things that you really don't have a lot of control over. That can be a really scary kind of adventure. And where did I... April? I've been through some things in my life that I kind of conjured together and placed into the character of April. I went through some really interesting changes in my life right before we started the filming, and I really just I didn't have an outlet except to put it into April, and it came at the perfect time. I couldn't even explain it. So, I mean, who doesn't want to play in April? Like, really? What gay man doesn't want to play April? She's fierce.
If you had to compare her to another character or a living person, who would you consider to be a parallel?
Kimberly Shaw was Marcia Cross's breakthrough performance in Melrose Place. Lovable, devious, and she was a train wreck. You're just going to take your eyes off of her. You had no idea what she was going to do next.
It's true, like, people who see the film usually get the response, they love to hate April. They really, they enjoy her. They enjoy not liking her. Though I think, again, she does have, I do feel like she's not just a one-sided character. I think she has a lot of, we show a lot of her vulnerabilities and
Right.
how...
and it's not, like I said earlier, it's not one-dimensional. There's a definite character arc, and whether it's considered growth or not, it has changed.
It's changed.
Yes. When creating your characters, how do you approach, like, the basic premise of a story, or do you approach an individual, or personality types? How do you craft your...
You mean in terms of directing them, or earlier when I'm writing?
Earlier when you're writing.
I think it varies a lot, I think. My first film my first feature...
This was your third?
This is my third, yes. My first film, Slutty Summer. It's a romantic comedy about waiters in New York. I usually have to specify that. Slutty Summer was very much based... I actually wrote a lot of the characters with actor friends of mine in mind to play them, because it was basically me and a couple of friends getting together and deciding... I said, like, okay, let's do a movie, and I wrote parts for people and stuff. Kind of like how that film started. So in that sense, I used very specific category. What's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know.
Well, I basically used real people as the characters in a way. Like Jesse Archer, who's also in a four-letter word, was very much based on him.
Okay.
That character is very much based on him, and I knew him before we made the film. But I think it varies. A four-letter word I wrote together with Jesse Archer. So in that film, I think a lot of things came from Jesse, of course, also. And but I think as a writer, I kind of take things from life, and it's important to try to make the characters be different from each other. So it's not all putting myself into all these characters.
Right. But you pick and choose aspects. At least
yeah,
that's
definitely.
how I kind of see things.
Like in a four-letter word, there's this the perfect couple, Peter and Derek, who moves in together, and I definitely see myself in both those characters a lot. Like I've been in relationships where I've been very much the controlling Peter, the character Peter, who is very much controlling in the relationship, and then the Derek character, who is very free-spirited and kind of like the voice of reason. I've definitely been on that side also. So I think I put a little bit of myself in all my characters, I guess.
Oh, yeah. And in directing your own work,
yeah,
does that change your perspective of the original script when you are putting it to film?
Definitely. In terms of actors bringing a lot to the script or to the story, to the film. Absolutely. I think I usually have a pretty clear idea what I want, and sometimes. I usually read with the actors. We do readings and stuff, or like rehearsals a little bit, and try to get them to understand what I want, or they ask me questions. What do I want in this scene? What does the character do here? And sometimes sometimes I don't know, and sometimes we cannot decide together, and sometimes I'm very clear what I want them to do, and sometimes they still don't really want to do that, or they end up doing something completely different. I'm sorry. I thought I turned it off. My phone is ringing. I'm sorry.
You're on TV.
I know, isn't that terrible? So sometimes the actor would still do something very different, but maybe I'll see, oh, that's really interesting, and like that's much more better choice than what I had planned out, and sometimes they do exactly what I want, and I realize I don't want it anymore, and I just have to kind of like, okay, let's do something different now. Okay. So it's definitely a lot on the spot while we're doing it. My films are very low budget, so we don't have a whole lot of time to shoot them, but hopefully you have enough time to explore a little bit and do a few different takes in different ways a little bit, so that
you shoot on HD.
Shoot on HD, yes.
So and then, well, with regard to the whole technical process, I mean, it's got to be working with a small budget and just getting everything done has got to create a unique set of circumstances as well.
It's very stressful. It's very stressful, but and I think for a few reasons, this film was the most stressful film for me that I made so far. The shooting time was 18 days, and but it's a lot of story in there. It's a lot of plot and a lot of
story. And just a big budget Hollywood film is usually 3 to 6 months.
Oh yeah, I mean definitely in counting months, not weeks. So 3 weeks was a short time, and it's a lot of dramatic scenes, a lot of things happening, a lot of company moves, going from one location to another, which of course takes a lot of time. So it was stressful, and but I think in the end result that this is probably the film I'm the most proud of. What in the end, how it came out.
Well, I mean, I haven't seen Slutty Summers yet. I did see Four Letter Word, and obviously this one, I do see a definite growth in your storytelling ability. I mean, I enjoyed both films greatly, but I do see your growth in presenting it as well.
Thank you. I hope so. I think I learn. I'm kind of like a self-taught filmmaker, so I hope I learn something from each film I'm making, and I definitely feel I do. And in each time it's fun to try something new, something different. A Four-Letter Word, it's very colorful, a very bright film. It totally works for that film. It's a very happy film, it's a comedy. So this film, I really wanted to do more of like a little moodier, definitely have more of a mood to it. So we did a lot of things with color and a lot of moving camera moves and stuff, a lot of interesting shots and stuff like that. To the extent we could on the type of time restraints we were on.
Well, from an actor's perspective, just dealing with the fast pace of the indie film and just going from the one scene to another, possibly, definitely, completely opposite ends of your story arc.
Oh yeah, it was.
I mean, how is that on you to shift like that, possibly within the same day?
I mean, in my experience, I mean, yeah, we definitely had some bumps in the road where, I mean, anything can go wrong. Sometimes I was in the wrong outfit, or sometimes I was really in the wrong outfit. Anything can go wrong. For the most part, it seemed pretty organized. I mean, my first day on set, we shot in Astoria, then we shot 2 locations in the East Village, and then we finished on West 33rd Street or something like that. And it was very much like, April shot, throw her in a cab. Okay, wrap the shot, throw her in a cab, wrap the shot, throw her in a cab. So it was like, ah! But I mean, it was fun. It was a rush, that's for sure, and we got it all done. So.
And you got it done well.
Thank you.
Which says, again, says a great deal, because I know, a lot of people can't do that.
No, yeah, I don't know. I think it's definitely, it's not the easiest of jobs, I would say, but it's a lot of fun. Being a filmmaker, being a film director is probably the most creative job possible, because you get to, as being the writer director and producing my own films, also I get to make all the decisions in terms of everything from casting and how I want them to say the lines sometimes, or what I want them to wear, what I want them to do with their hair, and of course how we cut it together and everything. I get to have full control, and it's a lot of fun.
Well, sometimes you learn a little bit from working with other people's material also, and my understanding is you've done that recently also.
Oh yes, actually, it was the first time I was hired to direct something was this past fall, and so that was a great joy in itself, because that's what I'm really interested in. I love writing and directing, and I'm an actor also. I'm one of the actors in Slutty Summer, actually. But to producing, I kind of started doing as a default, because I felt I had to get my stuff made. But then I got hired back in November to direct, co-direct actually, this film called The Big Gay Musical. And that, so someone else wrote it and produced it, and he's also directing it with me, because there's these big musical numbers in the film, and I really don't have any musical theater background. But so he was more in charge of those things, and I was more in charge of the reality stuff. And but that was a lot of fun too.
Okay, and just like a change of pace, obviously.
Yeah.
And did it present any specific challenges to you to work based off of somebody else's material?
Well, I've done it a little bit before with a four-letter word, since Jesse wrote a lot of four-letter word also, and so there's definitely situations where. Writers, when you're as a writer, you think something, and then maybe I come in as a director and I see things slightly differently. I think obviously in both those situations, both working with Jesse and with Fred Caruso, who was the producer, co-director, and writer, who was on set with me a lot of the times, they were both there, so they could, I could easily get feedback from them. Okay, well, how did you really picture this? And I can, hear their ideas. But I could also, when I wanted to do something and that perhaps wasn't what they had pictured it, sometimes I got complaints. But then I was like, I'm directing this now, so step away.
You know when to pull right.
Yeah, no. So, but I think generally it works out. It worked out. I think I think with Big Gay Musical, it was probably the most difficult thing for me was when I wasn't really in charge of the directing, when there was the big musical numbers, and I was like, well, let's do this, and I wasn't really in charge of that, so that was hard for me.
So that's currently in post-production?
That is in post-production, and I don't know when it will be out, actually, because there's some money issues, so I don't know when it's going to be finished. Yeah, unfortunately.
Well, where can people find out more about you and your work in Between Love and Goodbye, Four Letter Words, Slutty Summer?
Well, I have lots of websites. Casper Anderas is my personal website, and sluttysummer.com, fourletterwordmovie.com, lovegoodbye.com for this film.
Lovegoodbye.com.
Yeah.
Well, in the last 5 minutes that we have together, if you were to advise an aspiring filmmaker, what would you initially say? Would it be run like hell?
No, I think no, I wouldn't say to. I mean, I think it's these days it's easy to try it. You know, you don't need $1 million to make a film. And I made my first film, Slutty Summer, it was supposed to be a $10,000 film, and we ended up actually spending closer to 30. But most of that we actually spent in post after we had already sold it, so we knew we had money coming in.
Right.
So it was. So I guess my advice would be to just go out and do it, and just try it. You know, you don't have to have a lot of. You can shoot something on a cheap camera and edit it at home, which I did in my first film.
Okay.
And on your computer. So it's not that hard in that aspect to at least try it and see where it takes you. I read a lot of books on. Because I didn't go to film school, I read a lot of books on directing and low-budget film producing, and I listened to a lot of DVD commentaries, and picked up definitely a lot of stuff from that. And also, since I had worked as an actor for many years, I've been on lots of sets, so I definitely felt like I had experience of that, and I knew what the director was supposed to be doing and stuff like that. So, so I guess I would say just do it, and because you never know. I mean, obviously. Not necessarily, but it's hard, to make. You make a lot of mistakes, but you hopefully learn from your mistakes, and it's definitely not something you can just do and think that you're going to be excellent at it in a matter of spend just a little time on it, because you definitely need to invest a lot of time into making a film. It's time-consuming for sure.
Okay. So, and this was your first feature role in the film?
Yes, it was.
Have you been bitten by the acting bug now? Looking to do more?
Sure. If the right part comes my way.
That was a hesitant. That was very.
No, I'd really like to. I mean, I don't know how possible it would ever be to top a role like April, but yeah, I've auditioned a few times since the making of the film, so we'll see what happens.
So, again, the website is lovegoodbye.com, and your personal site is?
CasperAnderas.com.
Okay, and our time together is up. So again, there's more details on talkingabout.info, or at least there will be soon. You may be watching this there.